Emotion. Emotion is feeling or affect that occurs when a person is in a state or interaction that is important to self and well-being. Emotion, feeling or affect. Emotion, feeling or affect. Emotion influence infant. Emotion influence infant social responses and adapted behavior as they interact with others in their world. Emotion influence infant responses and adapted. Emotion influence infant is social response and adapted behavior as they interact with others in their world. Infant communicate important aspect of their life through joy, sadness, interest, and fear. Infant communicate important aspect of their lives through joy, sadness, interest, and fear. Emotion link ER provide the foundation for infant developing attachment social relationship to the parents. Next is provide setting develop rich variety of emotion. Relationship and culture provide diversity emotional experience. Early emotion. Early emotion is primary emotion and self-conscious. Primary emotion present in human and other animals and emerge early in life. Primary emotion present in human and other animal and emerge early in life. Self-conscious emotion. Self-conscious emotion requires self-awareness, especially consciousness, and a sense of me. Self-conscious emotion requires self-awareness, especially consciousness and sense of me. Self-conscious emotion, awareness, especially consciousness and sense of me. Smiling. Two types of smiling, reflexive smile and social smile. Reflexive smile, smile that does not occur in response to external stimuli. Reflexive smile does not occur in response to external stimuli. Social smile, in response to external stimuli. Social smile, response to external stimuli. Fear, two types of fear. Stranger anxiety, separation protest. Stranger anxiety is fear and awareness of strangers appears during the second half of the first year of life. Stranger anxiety, fear and awareness of strangers. Strangers anxiety, fear and awareness of strangers appear during the second half of the first year of life. Separation protest. Separation protest, distress crying when the caregiver leaves. Separation protest, distress crying. Emotional regulation and coping. Emotional regulation and coping. Infant develop ability to inhibit or minimize the intensity and duration of emotional reaction. Emotional regulation and coping. Infant develop ability to inhibit or minimize the intensity and duration of emotional reaction. Caregiver. Action and context influence emotional regulation. Caregiver influence emotional regulation. Caregiver. Action and context influence emotional regulation. For example of caregiver, soothing a crying infant help infant develop an adaptive emotion regulation, a sense, a trust and secure attachment to caregiver. Chess and Thomas classification. Classification is easy child, difficult child, slow to warm up child. Easy child. Easy child generally in positive mood. Quickly establish regular routine infancy. Adapt easily to new experience. Easy child generally in positive mood. Quickly establish regular routine and infancy. Adapt easily to new experience. Next classification of Chess and Thomas classification is difficult child. Difficult child react negatively and cries frequently. Engage in irregular daily routine. Slow to accept change. Difficult child react negatively and cries frequently. Engage in irregular daily routine. Slow to accept change. Slow to warm up child. Slow to warm up child, low activity level. Somewhat negative, display a low intensity of mood. Slow to warm up child. Slow to warm up child, low activity level, somewhat negative, display a low intensity of mood. Kagan behavioral invasion. Kagan behavioral, shy, subdue, timid, child. Children who are behavioral inhibited as their parents, we are at risk for developing anxiety disorder. Kagan behavioral, shy, subdue, timid child. Children who are behavioral inhibited as their parents, we are at risk for developing anxiety disorder. Robert and Bates classification. Robert and Bates classification is extraversion, surgency indicated by activity, laughter. Next is negative affectivity indicated by sadness, discomfort. Next is effortful, control important indicator for self-regulation. Robert Bates classification, activity, laughter, sadness, discomfort, self-regulation. Biological influence. Contemporary view. Temperament is biological based but involving aspect of behavior. Contemporary view. Temperament is biological based but involving aspect of behavior. contemporary view involving aspect of behavior. Contemporary view involving aspect of behavior. Gender, culture, and temperament. Number 1 is parents may react differently to an infant temperament depending on gender. Number 2, cultural difference in temperament will link to parents' attitude and behavior. And number 3, goodness of fit match between a child temperament and environment demands with which the child must cope. Thus, according to Erikson, the first year is characterized by trust versus mistrust and can arise at successive stages of development. According to Erikson, the first year is characterized by trust versus mistrust and can arise at successive stages of development. Developing sense of self. Self-recognition developed by 18 months of age. Developing sense of self. Self-recognition developed by 18 months of age. Independence. Erikson's second stage of development, autonomy versus shame and doubt. Independence. Erikson's second stage of development, autonomy versus shame and doubt. Face-to-face play start at 2 to 3 months old. Face-to-face play start at 2 to 3 months old, having a 2 classification. One is still paradigm. Number 2 is still face paradigm. Still face paradigm. Still face paradigm, caregiver alternates between engaged in face-to-face interaction with the infant and remaining still and unresponsive. Still face paradigm, still and unresponsive. Still face paradigm, still and unresponsive. Still face paradigm, caregiver alternate between engaged in face-to-face interaction with the infant and remaining still and unresponsive. Still face paradigm. Still face paradigm leads to infant being withdrawn and having negative emotion which predict later secure and insecure attachment. Still face paradigm predict later secure and insecure attachment. Still face paradigm predict later secure and insecure attachment. Still face paradigm leads into infant being withdrawn and having negative emotion which predict later secure and insecure attachment. Locomotion. 7 to 8 months old babies push for independence. By 11 months old, babies understand other and make appropriate social response, the cognitive foundation for being social. By 11 months old, babies understand others and make appropriate social response, the cognitive foundation for being social. 7 to 8 months old, baby push for independence. Attachment. Close emotional bond between two people. Attachment between two people. Attachment between two people. Attachment, close emotional bond between two people. Freud, infant become attached to the person who provides oral satisfaction. Freud, infant become attached to the person who provides oral satisfaction. Freud, infant become attached to the person who provide oral satisfaction. Satisfaction. Harlow, contact comfort prepared over food. Harlow, prepared over food. Harlow, contact comfort preferred over food. Erickson, thrice arise from physical comfort and sensitive care. Erickson, comfort and sensitive care. Erickson, trust arises from physical comfort and sensitive care. Bowlby, 4 phases of attachment. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4. Bowlby, 4 phases. Phase 1 is Phase 1 from birth to 2 months. Infant direct their attachment to human figure. Phase 1 from birth to 2 months. Infant direct their attachment to human figures. Phase 2 from 2 to 7 months. Attachment become focused on one figure. Primary caregiver. Phase 2 from 2 to 7 months. Attachment become focused on one figure. Primary caregiver. Phase 3 from 7 to 27 months. Specific attachment develop with increased locomotion. Babies actively seek contact with regular caregiver. Phase 3 from 7 to 27 months. Specific attachment develop with increased locomotion. Babies actively seek contact with regular caregivers. Phase 4 from 24 months on. Children become aware of other feelings and goals and account for them in their own action. Phase 4 from 24 months on. Children become aware of others' feelings and goals and account for them in their own action. Bowlby argued that infants develop an internal working model of attachment. Bowlby argued that infants develop an internal working model of attachment. Working model attachment. Bowlby argued working model of attachment. Strange situation. Strange situation, observational measure of infant attachment that requires the infant to move through a series of introduction, separation, and reunion with the caregivers and an adult stranger in prescribed order about 20 minutes. Strange situation, observed measure of infant attachment. Strange situation, observational measure of infant attachment. Strange situation, observational measure of infant attachment that requires the infant to move through a series of introduction, separation, and reunion with the caregivers, an adult stranger, in prescribed order over about 20 minutes. Securely attached babies. Use the caregiver as secure base from which to explore the environment. Securely attached baby. Explore the environment. Securely attached baby. Use the caregiver as a secure base from which to explore the environment. Insecure avoidant babies. Insecure avoidant babies show insecurity by avoiding the caregiver. Insecure avoidant babies avoiding the caregiver. Insecure avoidant babies avoiding the caregiver. Insecure avoidant babies show insecurity by avoiding the caregiver. Insecure resistant babies. Insecure resistant babies cling to the caregiver, then resist the caregiver by fighting against the closeness. Insecure resistant babies fighting against the closeness. Insecure resistant babies fighting against the closeness. Insecure resistant babies. Insecure resistant babies cling to the caregiver, then resist the caregiver by fighting against closeness. Insecure disorganized babies. Insecure disorganized babies show insecurity by being disorganized and disoriented. Insecure disorganized babies. Insecure disorganized baby by being disorganized and disoriented. Evaluating the strange situation. Evaluating the strange situation, does the paradigm capture important difference among infants? One is maybe cultural bias. 2. Difference between German and Japanese infant. German infant more likely to show avoidant attachment pattern. Japanese infant less likely to show avoidant attachment pattern. German infant avoidant attachment pattern. Japanese infant less avoidant attachment pattern. German infant more avoidant attachment pattern. Developmental cascade model. Developmental cascade model involve connection across domain over time that influence developmental pathway and outcomes. Developmental cascade model. Developmental cascade model pathway and outcomes. Pathway and outcomes. Criticism of attachment theory. Criticism of attachment theory classification. Number 1 is does not recognize that the culture value system influence the nature of attachment. Number 2, inadequate attention to biological based factor. Importance of secure attachment in infant. Importance of secure attachment in infant. Number 1, reflect positive parent-infant relationship. Number 2, provide a foundation for healthy socio-emotional development. Caregiver of insecurely attached infant tend to be rejecting, inconsistent, and abusive. Caregiver of insecurely attached infant to tend to be rejecting, inconsistent, and abusive. Important rule in maternal attachment behavior. Prefrontal cortex, cortical region of the amygdala. Number 3 is hypothalamus. Important role in maternal attachment behavior, prefrontal cortex, subcortical region of amygdala, and last is hypothalamus. Neuropeptide hormone, oxytocin, released during breastfeeding. Neuropeptide hormone, oxytocin, released during breastfeeding. Neurotransmitter dopamine. Rules of hormone and neurotransmitter emphasize the importance of neuropeptide hormones, oxytocin released during breastfeeding, neurotransmitter dopamine. Social context, family, childcare. Social context, family, childcare. Adjustment of parents during infant first year. Infant care complete with parents and other interests. Overall increase in marital satisfaction. Adjustment of parents during infant first year. Infant care complete with parents' other interests. Number 2 is overall increase in marital satisfaction. Children socialize parent. Just a parent socialize children. Scaffolding. Parents time interaction so that infant experiment turn talking with parents. Scaffolding. Parents time interaction so that infant experience turn talking with parents. Managing and guiding infant behavior. Number 1 is being proactive and child-proofing the environment. Number 2 is engage in corrective method. Managing and guiding infant behavior, being proactive and child-proofing the environment. Number 2 is engage in corrective method. Childcare. Many U.S. children today experience multiple caregivers. Most do not have parents staying at home. Parental leave. Fathers are positively engaged with their children, improve developmental outcomes occur. Parental leave. Fathers are positively engaged with their children, improve developmental outcomes occur. Currently, over 2 million children receive formal licensed care. Many more are cared by unlicensed babysitter. Variation in childcare. Factors that influence the effect are age of the child. Number 2, type of childcare. Number 3, quality of the program. Low-income infant receive lower quality childcare. High-quality childcare linked to better cognitive and language skills, cooperation, positively play with peers, fewer behavioral issue. Good care. Number 3 is good caregiver training and low child to staff ratio linked to higher cognitive and social competence with child is 4 years old. Strategies parent can follow. Quality of parenting is a key factor in child development. Number 2, monitor the child development. Number 3, take time to find the best child care.